and life-changing injuries here in Milwaukee, but not just here in the city, indeed across the state. Automated traffic safety camera programs are the essential tool that state law currently prohibits us at the local level from deploying for increased public safety on our roadways. Now, I've worked as mayor with every single city department to reduce traffic violence. Recent achievements include the Department of Public Works prioritizing safety over speed as it relates to street designs and securing major grants in order to do just that. The Department of City Development investing tax increment district funding for street safety improvements. The Milwaukee Police Department improving the unlicensed driving ticketing process so that dangerous drivers are taken off the streets even sooner. The Milwaukee Fire Department right now is working to make sure that whole blood is available in ambulances when they respond to crashes. The Milwaukee Health Department is conducting data analysis and convening community partners for effective implementation of our Vision Zero effort. The Department of Administration, offices of Vision Zero and Community Wellness and Safety are connecting traffic violence to the general violence support programs. Now, my fellow elected leaders are also taking action. I want to thank City Attorney Evan Goyke, who we've partnered with for stepping up the prosecution of new anti-reckless driving laws, judges for taking decisive action and taking reckless driving as a serious offense that it is, County Executive Crowley as well for adopting our Vision Zero goal as well as a target date for Vision Zero. But today we're here to give a special thank you to Senator Dora Drake for authoring and introducing LRB 1592 to implement a pilot automated traffic safety camera program here in Milwaukee. I know that Senator LaTanya Johnson is here as well, and she's been in support of that, along with Representatives Kirsch and Haywood, who you hear from as well. Now, it's clear, based on the 29 other states that allow them, ATE programs, automated traffic enforcement programs, are proven to reduce crashes, proven to reduce injuries, and proven to reduce fatalities on the roadway as well. ATE programs are especially effective in large cities and have reduced all crashes by 54% and injury crashes by 47% on urban roads. Now, it's clear that more work must be done and new tools must be deployed to save lives and also to accelerate the work that we're doing at the local level on Vision Zero. So I'm happy to be here today with Senator Drake and Senate and Assembly co-authors of this very vital legislation. And we appreciate their support of our state partners in helping to ensure that we have all the tools, the most effective tools in our toolbox locally in order to address the issue of reckless driving on the streets of Milwaukee. So with that, I'm now going to turn it over to State Senator Dora Drake. Senator Drake. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. So it is a Monday morning, and even though people are still waking up, the reality is just over this past weekend, there were issues of reckless driving that happened here in our city. In my own district, 10 minutes from here, someone passed away from reckless driving, and now there's a new dynamic of street takeovers that we're seeing across this city. As a state, we have a job to do, and it's to give our local government the tools they need to ensure that there is healthy and safe communities. And this is what this bill does. The Safe Road Saves Lives Act aims to reduce reckless driving and traffic-related accidents by allowing the City of Milwaukee the ability to use speed safety and traffic control cameras. And I want to just be upfront, because this is a concern that we've heard time and time again, that this piece of legislation is just a cash cow. It is not. We are focused on ensuring that people's lives are protected, that they're safe, and that the City of Milwaukee and law enforcement and all partners alike have the tools necessary to keep our community safe. Some of the things that the piece of legislation does, it will create a framework where it will allow local government to create ordinances of how to establish the speed enforcement cameras. And with that, there are guardrails in place to ensure that there's transparency to the public about how these funds are being used. There will be a public campaign to ensure that there is information shared, so in that way people aren't just confused and blindsided that these cameras will be established. part of these other things that we want to ensure is that, it is a crisis that we're seeing here. In my own district, the 4th Senate District, which is the northern part of the city of Milwaukee, as well as Glendale, Shorewood, parts of Brown Deer, and Wauwatosa, 1,166 people either suffered fatal or life-changing injuries due to speed-related crashes over the past 5 years. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable is because we have elders that want to enjoy their neighborhoods. We have young people that shouldn't feel threatened or scared when summer comes around and they feel like they're less safe because of all the violence that happens, whether it's gun violence or traffic violence. This is our time, and we are really excited that there's bipartisan support for this as well, because I think all of us can agree that saving lives means that our communities are safe, and providing these cameras will allow the tools necessary to ensure that our communities are safe. And with that, I will introduce Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Senator Drake, for your introduction, and thank you all for being here today. If you live in Milwaukee, then you know that reckless driving isn't just an issue, it's a crisis. And it's not just happening on our highways, but it's happening in our neighborhoods, outside our schools, in our crosswalks, where parents push strollers and children ride their bikes. And every day we fail to act, we leave our community more vulnerable. I've lost count of how many times I've opened the news or read about another family torn apart, a child hit while walking to school, a grandmother killed on her way to church, a city worker struck while doing their job. This bill is about giving Milwaukee the ability to protect its people, nothing more, nothing less. It would allow the city to use automated enforcement cameras in areas we already know that are dangerous. Cameras that would be placed only after community input and public notice. Cameras that would be used to slow people down and hold those who make our neighborhoods unsafe accountable. This bill is narrow. It only applies to first-class city, which means only the City of Milwaukee. It's based on real data from MPD about where we are and where the most dangerous intersections are located. And it will give local leaders and law enforcement more tools to save lives. When someone runs a red light at 60 miles per hour, we shouldn't have to wait for the next funeral to do something about it. We should be able to intervene before another family has to bury a loved one. In 2024, Milwaukee saw more than 16,000 crashes and 12,543 reckless driving citations. That includes 64 fatal crashes. Now, since 2011, traffic-related deaths have risen by 65%. And those numbers don't even begin to capture the fear of people every time they drive across our streets or back out of their driveways. I talk to parents who won't let their kids go outside to play. Seniors are scared to go to the stores. And that's not the kind of city that anyone deserves to live in. Because police are affected by this too. We all know that we have lost officers like Officer Charles Irvine Jr., who died chasing a reckless driver. Officer Cal Herr, who was killed on his way home from work by a reckless driver. He was still in uniform. Safe roads save lives. We don't need more data to prove that. But as a reminder, we just need to do what's right by our constituents. We can't police our way out of this. We can't place police officers at every single intersection 24 hours a day. So we need another source of help. It's my honor now to introduce Mariah Johnson to share her family's experience with reckless driving.
Thank you so much, Senator. Hello, my name is Mariah Johnson. I am born and raised in the city of Milwaukee. Speeder drivers are hurting and killing people every single day. I know this because a speeding driver killed my brother Gerald Wellinger on August 7th of 2021. The driver was going over 100 miles an hour when he hit my brother. I can't imagine that was his first time speeding. Our large city simply cannot have police officers on every corner, but cameras can be their force multipliers, consistency holding people accountable. At the end of the day, I wake up every single day and have to be reminded on these streets that my brother was killed in a reckless driving crash. I have to come to events like this, and I am so honored to do this work, but it hurts every single day. And the family that I am growing behind reckless driving crashes keeps growing every single day. Traffic safety cameras slow people down. They make drivers think twice before treating cities like highways. These cameras aren't about punishment, they are about preventing crashes and about saving lives. Traffic safety cameras work. Traffic safety cameras saves lives. Traffic safety cameras are needed in Milwaukee. I would like to say that I am honored to be here today, but I would be honored for Vision Zero to work. I am so tired and so beat down about riding down the same streets every single day and seeing crashes every day. It hurts. It hurts to do this work. It hurts to wake up and not have my brother here. 4 years. In August, he will be gone. 4 years. My daughter is 10 years old. She was 6 when he was killed. In 4 more years, she might not even remember her uncle anymore. So when I do this work, I do this because I'm taking my pain and turning into purpose. So the next time you get behind a wheel, please remember that speeding, we can live without it. I'd like to invite Jessica Weinberg, Vision Zero Policy Director of City of Milwaukee. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Mariah, so much for sharing your story again. It's really because of you and all the people like you that we need to do this work. Speeding is the primary factor that makes crashes deadly or have very bad health outcomes for people involved. So lowering speeds is absolutely essential. Traffic safety cameras are the single most effective tool at lowering speeds, but we're not allowed to use them in the city of Milwaukee. I'm so looking forward to this bill. I really want this bill passed. We need this tool. We are a Vision Zero city. We have the goal of eliminating traffic deaths. Our target year is 2037. On Thursday, we'll be presenting a plan that lays out multiple strategies to get us there, and one of the key ones is being allowed to use traffic safety cameras for traffic enforcement. There's lots of public support for these cameras. In our own Vision Zero polls that we did as part of the plan, 62% of people in Milwaukee who took the poll wanted to see these cameras explored as a safety program. AAA did a poll in 2024 that was statewide, and there we saw that 64% of Wisconsin residents favor speed cameras and 71% favor red light cameras. 71% of Wisconsinites in the AAA poll wanted to see red light cameras as a tool that we can use. So I'm so thankful for this bill to be introduced. I hope we can see it passed. And in closing, just traffic safety cameras are safe and effective. Traffic safety cameras are collaborative and transparent. Traffic safety cameras are common sense. And traffic safety cameras are data driven. In the city of Milwaukee, our crashes are very concentrated. 59% of the serious injury and fatal crashes occur on about 9% of our roads. That high injury network is exactly where we, 1, target current interventions, but 2, we would love to target these cameras so that we can save lives and make sure that it's not me or any of these people or any of you who are the next victim of traffic violence, and sadly join Mariah with that burden. So thank you so much. I think we can take questions now. No. Oh, one more. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you for allowing me to speak this morning. I'm Betsy Brenner, GMC Executive Committee member and former president and publisher of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Senator Drake, thank you for sponsoring a bill that would make Milwaukee safer for all of us. The Greater Milwaukee Committee is in support of automated traffic enforcement. This solution is about ensuring a Greater Milwaukee through safer streets. Automated traffic enforcement is a proven tool to help us achieve this goal. Here's how it would work. Safer streets means safer neighborhoods. Milwaukee families deserve to feel safe crossing the street, waiting at a bus stop, driving or biking to or from work. Cities that have implemented this solution have seen a significant drop in deadly collisions caused by red light running. The solution will promote fair and committed enforcement. Automated enforcement applies traffic laws evenly, minimizing the bias and the amount of public trust on traffic enforcement, and allows patrols to address other priority safety needs in our community. There are also significant economic benefits that come with implementing automated traffic enforcement. There will be savings for taxpayers by reducing emergency services. Safer streets attract businesses and visitors. People are more likely to shop, dine, and even work when they feel protected and safe. Funds can be reinvested in neighborhood support, traffic calming, pedestrian infrastructure, and public safety programs. Milwaukee deserves to be a leader. We can become a model for other mid-sized cities by combining technology with smart policy to create safer roads. Ultimately, this is one step toward a safer and sounder Milwaukee, where safety, equity, and accountability are built into every intersection.
Thank you, Betsy. All right, well, thank you so much for being here and covering this very, very important topic. I want to thank our community partners who are here as well, from Lutheran Social Services, the Dan Hone Foundation, as well as the Greater Milwaukee Committee. I want to thank our state elected officials who have joined us as well and are pushing to make sure we have the tools necessary at the local level to address the scourge of reckless driving in Milwaukee. Look, when I was elected mayor a few years ago, the number one thing that folks said they wanted me to address was reckless driving. And I went through the litany of things working with various city departments that we're doing to address that. Now it's time to amplify that. We'll always work to make sure that we're modifying our plans, modifying the things that we're doing to address the needs of the day. But there is a really critical tool that's out there that we need the state's permission in order to implement, and that's automated traffic enforcement cameras. And so I'm glad and very grateful that our partners at the state of Wisconsin are here standing with us today and are going to try to work to make sure a bill gets through the legislature so that we can have that additional tool to create more public safety on the ground in Milwaukee. And with that, we'll take a couple of questions.
Mayor, could you talk about what is your message to people who are not paying attention on the road and have made it a practice to not follow the rules?
The question is, like, what's the message to people who are not paying attention, who are choosing? And it is a choice. It's a choice to drive recklessly. Realize that decision, realize that choice has devastating consequences. It can. When you drive recklessly, you put yourself in a position where you could be hurt, where you could be killed. Worse yet, you could end up hurting or killing somebody else. I'd imagine that when you leave the house in the morning or at night or whenever in the day, that there's somebody that you want to come back to, right? You got a mom, you've got a dad, you've got siblings, you've got kids, grandparents, you got friends, whomever, and you want to see them again. Well, guess what? Everybody else on the roadway, they want to see their folks too. And when you drive recklessly, you're taking their lives into your hands, and it's not right, and it's not fair, and we need every single tool that we can have at our disposal in order to hold those folks to account. Look, I want there to be safety on the streets of Milwaukee, and I want for every person within the sound of my voice and beyond who makes the decision, the choice, and that's exactly what it is, to drive recklessly, to know that there will be consequences for that. And that's exactly what we're trying to accomplish here today.
On the same topic of, I'm sorry, on the same topic of danger in the city, we had multiple shootings over the weekend.
Multiple what, I'm sorry?
Multiple shootings over the
Sure.
weekend between reckless driving and shooting. Could you just make a quick comment about the quadruple shooting over the weekend and others?
Yeah, absolutely. On the shootings, look, I think Chief Norman has talked about this very well. There are so many instances where there are individuals who come into conflict with one another. They've got very poor conflict resolution skills. It appears that nobody can fight anymore with their fists. Instead, they have to take out a gun, and I've got to end you if you offend me in some form or fashion. Look, all of us have a responsibility in order to reduce gun violence in Milwaukee, right? That's why we have a number of programs at the city working to connect people with jobs, working to connect people with young people, particularly with summer youth job and summer camp programs and things like that. We need people in this community to understand that if you have a conflict with somebody, use your words, talk it through, leave the situation. It is not necessary to take out a gun. The same thing applies that I talked about in terms of reckless driving. Look, when you get into a confrontation with somebody, I would imagine that you want to see your loved ones at the end of that confrontation. You want to go back home to them. The other person on the other side does too. And when you shoot somebody or you kill somebody, you got to understand it creates this devastating ripple effect throughout our community, right? You may have a beef with somebody and you hurt them, you kill them, but just imagine what you're doing to their kids and to their grandparents and to their friends. It creates a ripple effect. Understand the consequences of your actions and put guns down. Also, I will just posit here that there is no reason at all in the city of Milwaukee today that somebody should have a gun that is not properly secure. We have gun locks that are available at a number of community organizations all throughout Milwaukee. You can get them for free. Guns should not be available, should not be used for settling conflict, and when they're in the home, they should be locked up, they should be secure, they should have a gun lock on them, they should be in the gun safe, they should be away from children. We have seen far too many instances where kids, young people in our community have gotten access to guns that were not properly secured, and devastating consequences follow. So there's a lot of work for us to do there in the community. There's also a lot of work on gun violence to do at the state and federal level too. So I'm hoping that in the future we'll get some more action from our partners in Madison and Washington on that. Bill's been introduced before. What makes it different this time? I'll leave it to the sponsor or perhaps Senator Johnson to talk about that.
Thank you for the question. I think what's different is we were more diligent this time around in trying to ensure that there was a larger coalition of partners that would support this. And I think everyone, like I shared earlier, supports safety, and so with that, we are excited that it's going through legislature, and the hope is obviously to get passed because we have a job to do. People just didn't elect us, just for the sake of it. And so this was one of the things that we hear time in and time out, whether it's from our mayor or even the residents that we represent.
I'm sorry, say it again. Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Nothing on that specific incident, but you should know, I mean, there's legislation that is moving forward at the City of Milwaukee that I'm in support of, that I've been supportive of. Look, this, I think, is an outgrowth of reckless driving behavior, these street takeovers that are happening. That's something that we also have to deal with, something that we also have to address. So much like we're asking the state to allow us to have another tool in the toolbox in order to address speeding on the roadway, we're seeking to have, at the city level, another tool in the toolbox for us to be able to utilize in order to crack down on these street takeovers that are happening in neighborhoods across Milwaukee. Look, this is a quality of life issue. It's not fair for people who have to get up and go to work in the morning or take their kids to school to be woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning because some people decide to do donuts and set off firecrackers and shoot in the air in neighborhoods and intersections across the city. It's not right. It's not fair. I would imagine you wouldn't want this happening to somebody that you care about, right? If your mom is sick, right, and she's trying to rest, how would you like it if somebody came into her neighborhood, doing the stuff that you're doing? Think about that. And we want to hold, folks accountable that are doing that. So I'm in support of the legislation that's going to be working its way through the Common Council, and I will sign it immediately to give the police department an additional tool, much like this, to address that issue.
One more question. So you talked about MPD, but it seemed like it took MPD quite some time to bring up their street takeover yesterday. Any comment on that?
It took them time to do what? I'm sorry?
It took them quite a minute. It seemed like they weren't going to intervene in that street takeover yesterday. It took a while, maybe even after dark, for them to bring that.
Look, the police department, of course, is working day in and day out. They're going from call to call to call constantly. I'm glad that police are here and they do respond to those things. There wasn't an incident just recently where there was a street takeover. Police responded and actually ended up ticketing a person who was on a motorcycle and trying to flee from a street takeover. So the police department understands that this is a challenge. We're working to make sure they have additional tools in order to address the situation. And we'll continue working with the police department on this, as well as other city departments. Again, as I mentioned, we have to constantly work to make sure that we're modifying the tools that we have in our toolbox. So we'll continue working with police and other departments in the city in order to address the issue. I don't have that information present.
Thank
All
you for your
right.
question.
Just one last thing.
We are
Could
done.
someone step up and just tell us how these cameras are going to reduce the reckless driving? What is the process? How does that